First, the question was, can things be the same as they were in Sly 2? Then, in Rumble Down Under, we said, okay, if they can't be the same, how different are they? And now we're faced with perhaps the most important question yet. Regardless of this new direction, can we reach the same heights as Sly 2?
Bentley was obsessed.
This opening has volumes of text in it, most of which flying by far too quickly for my audiobook enjoying eyes, but now that I have the arcane powers of editing, I can finally read the ancient texts. Possibility to cut supply to ammo reserves, neutralize guard radios, use magnetic fields to remove mines, recon suggests submerged defenses in addition to surface mines, device for scaling electrified walls, jungle cover could be advantageous, new navigation device, cloaking device may be necessary, high acidic content in water may need underwater protective gear, mines of unknown designs, turret gears comprised of unknown metal, security design is genius. This is the clearest picture we get of Cane Island's overkill security measures, and yet it's not like you have to pause and read it to get the point. This is a delightfully effective tone setter now that the gang's got their momentum back. Seeing Bentley try to concoct a heist only to devolve into a teacher when their student uses the word perchance too many times, it's a bit disconcerting.
Every night he'd pore over the blueprints to Dr. M's fortress, looking for a way to get into the Cooper vault.
Bentley with stubble is one of the most cursed things I've ever seen. This is much worse than acne on a tiger.
He soon came to the conclusion that there was no way inside unless the gang picked up a dedicated RC specialist. An expert who had mechanical and piloting skills far exceeding his own.
This album over here, with the only legible word on it being love, is probably a reference to an album of the same name and color scheme by the Beatles, and in universe was probably made by the Oscars. You can just barely make out this picture on his desk, a match for the one at the end of Jailbreak. Still no solid intel on who it's a picture of, but I appreciate the continuity. A very rare international version difference here. Instead of getting to see much of this chat room exchange, players of the original PAL version were treated to a little Bentley montage consisting mainly of reused assets from other cutscenes. Here he is from the intro to Opera of Fear, and here he is from the intro of Jailbreak.
After weeks of searching techie chat rooms, he finally found someone who could keep up with him intellectually.
Okay, so the funny thing about these chat room exchanges is that, while not verbatim, Sly's summaries leave out very few on-screen details.
A gearhead genius out of Holland named Penelope.
The most notable exception is this little chat in the middle. For one, this chatting site is attached to ThiefNet, the same dark web community where we sell loot and buy gadgets. And for two, how famous is the Cooper Gang really? We unfortunately haven't gotten to play out many classic heists as them. It's always been either treasure keys or clockwork toenail clippings, but we know they have pulled a few big jobs. This ultra-rare stamp, that bar of chocolate, the Firestone of India, which is probably based on the real world's Rajaratna ruby, and Vincent van Gogh's Starry Night. So I'd think it fair to say they would have a global reputation. And okay, look here. I know what you're going for with the turn of the millennium AOL Instant Messenger chat room vibes, but you cannot be telling me Bentley would ever use the wrong there.
She politely declined our invitation to join the team, saying she only works for the best. Apparently, her idea of the best was her boss, the Black Baron, a big-time dogfighting champ up there in Holland.
The Black Baron's name is a clear nod to the Red Baron, a German pilot historically considered to be the best to fly in the First World War.
He's so good that he's even set up an international competition called ACES to attract worthy opponents.
ACES is a really clever name for a dogfighting tournament. Apart from the fact that an ace is an expert pilot, whoever wins it would logically be crowned the Ace of Aces, which is a real-world title accorded to the very best to fly for their country during a war, like the Red Baron for instance. We can see in this screenshot that ACES is actually an acronym, but we never find out exactly what it stands for. Let me take a stab at it. Aerial Combat Event of the Season. All the cockiest eagles soaring. Apparently the coolest entry in the series? I'll workshop it.
A few days later, she sent us a counteroffer. If our gang could manage to beat the Black Baron at his own game, then she'd know we weren't just a pack of jokers, and therefore, worth her time. So, we got busy. With no time to lose, Bentley and Murray worked to put a plane together, while I got my pilot license the fastest way possible.
While Jose Ortiz is a name that doesn't seem to be all that significant to Sucker Punch or the world of Sly, these other two are. Oscar Piggy, who apparently has a story to tell, was first seen as a low-ranking back-alley gangster dealing with Dimitri. Then he was an inmate at Heathrow Prison alongside the top dogs of both the Fiendish Five and the Claw Gang, and now he's an up-and-up licensed pilot. My goodness. And this other one, Ringo Starr, is one of the Oscars, presumably the drummer, considering the similar name to the Beatles' own Ringo Starr. Apparently a man of many talents.
We'd prove to this Penelope that the Cooper gang was up for the challenge, even if we were making it all up as we went along.
Welcome to the Flight of Fancy, everyone and everything. I gotta say, the episode names are batting 1,000 so far. Great double meanings, like, yeah, this mission focuses on airplanes, but A Flight of Fancy also describes the gang's aspirations of winning one of the most competitive dogfighting tournaments in the world as rookies. Beginning our sweep of Kinderdijk, something is different. The tone more confident, the focus giving every member of the cast, even Carmelita, a chance to shine. We establish mechanical elements, environmental storytelling, and get a much more personal opening look at this region than we're used to. Interpol's presence as a threat is made an immediate point of, and once settled into our safe house, these massive windows give us a beautiful view of the blimps and windmills dominating the skyline. Flight of Fancy is off to an extremely strong start, and we haven't even taken control. As soon as we do, a little twist. We don't jump out to explore the level, but rather suit up in disguise and head into the hotel lobby.
If we're gonna succeed in this year's Aces competition, we'll need to learn who we're flying against.
What? They keep the flight roster a secret?
Correct. In years past, competitors would go out at night and sabotage each other's planes in preparation for the next day's dogfight.
I get it. So now they keep the lineup a secret, and no one knows who to mess with.
Precisely. Looks like you're a good pilot.
He is?
But we've only got one plane, and you'll be up there against dozens of bogeys.
You know, normally I'd make some sarcastic remark about how overwhelmed I am by your confidence in me, but those are some grim odds. And, well, you know, I'm always up for some sabotage.
Our friend, Dimitri, has been hired to give color commentary during the dogfights. He'll know where the roster's hidden. Scout about somewhere in the hotel lobby, but be careful. If you start a fight with the other pilots, we'll be kicked out of the competition.
Sure, we all play nice until tomorrow. Then we blow each other to bits at 300 feet.
Now, if you've been with me a while, you already know I adore hotels. They are simply my favorite setting, so this level's already got an unfair advantage over me. This also means our safe house this episode is our assigned hotel room, something we have a more or less legitimate claim to. Though we are under an assumed identity, this is all surprisingly above board. We're just one of the pilots, chilling with the competition between events. Maybe we'll kick up our feet, strike up a conversation, maybe order some room service so Murray can stop shoveling down pizza from God knows where. There's not much to explore or do. We can't even shed our disguise for a quick mission fail, let alone whip out arcane and wreak havoc. Best we can do is hang about on the fan. But the details, they are aplenty. We can learn the hotel's name from the bottles of rated E10 plus grape juice, Hotel del Europe. These private rooms surrounding the ground floor are marked off with the words M's Private Party, and we can glimpse some of the silhouettes milling around within. Private though that party may be, I see no harm in inviting ourselves. While most of these silhouettes are canine in nature, some are reused from Rajan's ballroom in the second game. We can also peer through the windows of some of the competitors' rooms, decorated with the Icelandic flag. Contrary to the lobby's French tricolor? No, that's the Netherlands. Wait, how did... Nope, Dutch came first. What? Why did France do that? This windmill and plane setup by the entrance is a neat little pair of moving parts, though they can be pretty easily desynced. They're moving at the same speed, but have slightly different loading distances, so you may end up seeing these planes clipping through the feathers. And of course, the Black Baron's portraits are writ large across the whole space, lest we forget who runs this show. And lastly, the music in here is, what else, but a remix of Dimitri's iconic theme from Paris.
Let's dance!
Dimitri, funny seeing you here. Never pegged you as a flyboy.
Like a dance floor with many lights, I have many profiles. Dig, don't even try to understand the silky enigma of Dimitri.
Bentley seemed to think you might have a copy of the Ace's flight lineup. That true?
And why should I talk to a 2-bit Rudy Poot crackerbox like you? Question mark in bold. Why?
Breaking out the dialogue tree once again, you gotta figure it's 2 for 2 on Dimitri just so they could have an excuse to write more dialogue for him.
We both know you're gonna tell me. You wouldn't have bothered showing up if you didn't want to talk, so spill it.
I know, but to talk is like sitting on an electric chair. The Baron has eyes and ears and fists. Dimitri will be discovered, and the jig is pinched.
If you talk, me and the gang will protect you. We're all in this together. You can count on us. You know our reputation.
The Black Baron is a big wheel. He'll roll all over us. Too many men he commands. We can't stop them. Too many to count.
Establishing Baron as a threat to be reckoned with through the ethos of characters we know to be formidable is a great way to build him up, especially given how little we know about him compared to the head honchos of our past.
Come on now, Dimitri. A man like you can deal with this Black Baron. You've got the best fashion sense of anyone I know.
The fashion? Style? You're right. If I cannot dress him, I can certainly outsmart him. All is told through clothes. Okay, I'll talk a flight lineup if you agree to owe Dimitri a favor, which I'll collect in a few months of time.
A favor?
This no small-time favor like, will you water my fish or feed my plant? No way, bro! This old-school mafia blood pact favor, like movies, big time.
Bargaining is the next to fall in our Stage of Grief domino sequence, the most cerebral of the stages, your rational mind asserting itself in desperation that someone, somewhere, has to be able to do something. And all you're missing is the price.
Le bling? Cash won't help me get done what needs getting done. I need gang of thieves, not Federal Reserve.
In turn, Holland is easily our most sophisticated caper yet. Unfeasible odds both on the ground and in the air. We've well established fighting our way out, let alone fighting fair, is not an option. To meet Penelope's terms, we'll have to play dirty, make deals we don't like, sell our soul one piece at a time.
Okay, Dimitri. Hook me up with the flight roster and we'll owe you one.
Done! The bargain she has struck. To find flight roster, look behind one of the tacky paintings in Black Baron's air hangar. It's hidden in secret safe.
Art decryption lock, huh? I know just the guy for the job.
Stand cool. Here comes Big Cheese.
I bid you all a most flamboyant welcome, my esteemed comrades of the skies. Welcome, welcome to another year of the Aces competition. We've got teams here from across the globe. Canada, Belgium, Ecuador, Iceland, Korea, and many, many more. Not the least of which is last year's deadly runner-up, Team Mugshot. This time we're gonna drill you jokers full of holes. Now, we all know that in years past, some teams have engaged in a little good-natured late-night hijinks. Like when Team Canada stole Ecuador's parachutes.
Or when Team Iceland sawed the landing gear off Korea's planes.
Or when Portugal put rat poison in Team Mugshot's coffee machine. Yes, that was all so very funny, but no more. You know the rules. No one, absolutely no one, is to leave the hotel after sunset. If my guards catch you outside, you will be beaten to within an inch of your life. No exceptions. This will be a fair competition.
Same as last year and the year before. I've got the scars to prove it.
I bid you all an exuberant and exaggerated farewell, pilots. Tonight, sleep like geese. And tomorrow, soar like eagles, eh? What?
The term villain doesn't really describe the Black Baron. The worst we can say about him now is he's clearly got an inflated ego, but as we understand it, he's got the skills to back it up, and frankly, he's just fun to listen to. His logorrheic diction absolutely demands your attention. Now, since he doesn't present much in the way of antagonism, we get a reprise of Mugshot, our villainous foe from Utah. And we see just who the M in that private party was. It's something of a rogues gallery with both him and Dimitri here, though while the worst thing Dimitri did was destabilize the economy, Mugshot was one of the fiends responsible for the death of Sly's family. I doubt we'll be playing nice with him.
They don't lock the front door to the hotel. This isn't a jail. But you heard the Baron. Once outside, Things will get dangerous.
We can briefly see the hotel exterior when the door opens, but they modeled way more of it than they needed to. It does approximate the hotel's front entrance as seen from the outside, but this welcome banner is placed quite differently. And if we consider how our room backs up to the same wall as the front door, we understand that this hotel manages to bend reality just a tad. We're set loose on the town. Kinderdijk is once again a real locale, and is perhaps one of the best represented in popular media. The fields of tulips and windmills are very emblematic of this region, but it's represented within the game as a complex ecosystem of ideas and structure. The main town holds the hotel and a few shops, but is separated from the rest of the area by water. This moat is filled with sailboats that give us a few options for traversal, and on the other side we'll find another town square, bountiful farmlands marred by the wreckage, no doubt wrought by prior dogfights, a bit of wolf-hunted wilds, and the airfield populated by hangars, a runway, and a tower. In addition to our usual stock of guards, the blimps drifting by overhead have spotlight turrets that can cause us trouble. Despite the level's aerial themes, the Dutch countryside affords us very few opportunities to stay in Sly's happy place while we're on the move, pushing us to avoid or dispatch the guards on equal footing. And overlooking all of it, the Baron's Castle, the most overt display of pride and power an Overseer has displayed since we went up against Rajan. In this level's concept art, the castle was originally intended to be adorned by a giant windmill, and as cool as that would have been aesthetically, I like the thematic cohesion of making it double as his private hangar and runway. By far the coolest way to get around, if not the fastest, is by hitching a ride on the blimps, which fly close enough to the control tower that you can hop aboard. Before we do, hang out on the radar for a sec, and you'll be rewarded with a trophy. These bouncy things up front of the blimps launch you higher than a mega jump, so if you're willing to wait, they can get you absolutely anywhere.
I won't be able to get inside the Baron's hangar with that drawbridge up. There should be a release lever on top of the castle somewhere. Sorry, pal, but you're the best climber we got.
Another generally brilliant climbing challenge making use of every circle press in the book, with the added bonus of eavesdropping on the boss as we go.
The competition starts tomorrow. Where are all my guards? Asleep? Watching TV? Why bother paying them at all if they're going to lounge about like common tourists? I tell you, Christoph, the Aces pilots get better and better. We've got some real competition on our hands this year. I'm not saying it's too much for Team Black Baron. No. We've done a fine job training. Our pilots are in tip-top condition. The best lot, without question, truly. I'm not just saying this, truly. This is going to be our finest victory ever. Yes, tomorrow we'll witness some legendary dogfighting. Provided the other teams don't sabotage each other. When will they learn?
But this castle has a number of, as Double B would put it, very funny properties. For one, we can skip it entirely with those blimps, which the game can't quite abide by, with the real trigger for the waypoint on top lying on this last pole.
Psst, Sly! Hey, Sly!
But we can always break things significantly more with a bit of no-clipping. We can watch the Baron pop out of existence as he teleports into the sitting room. We can watch him walk through a chair to show it who's boss. We can admire this room ourselves and see some continuity with the hatch leading from the roof. We can beat the ever-loving daylights out of both the Baron and Christoph, and all the more gratifyingly, find that Blaubert has finite health, and can be left stunned by our total breach of sequence. It's interesting that he doesn't notice us within this room, but can spot us on the windowsill.
Oh, what? Oh, who goes there?
There's also a room rendered behind the drawbridge, but as we'll find in a moment, that goes unused.
Sly, are you up there?
Nope, sorry. Just us Black Baron goons.
Throw the switch and lower the drawbridge so that I can get up there.
Sorry, pal. I don't see any switch.
But there just has to be a switch. I can't get in the Baron's hangar from down here.
Hold on. I got an idea. It's gonna fall.
Medieval, but effective. Thanks, pal.
Sure thing. See you back at the safe house.
I love how, despite how far Bentley's come, improvising continues to be his Achilles heel. Thanks for the assist, buddy. Without that catapult, there'd be no way for Bentley to get to the roof of the castle. If we did get up here prematurely, this catapult Sly knocks down isn't functional, despite the fact that the other one is.
If Dimitri's intel is accurate, the flight roster should be locked behind one of the paintings in this hangar.
Attention castle staff. We've got a big day tomorrow in the first round of the Aces competition, just 12 hours away. You've all got a superlative job preparing for the event, and this year promises to be the best dogfighting action we've ever seen. However, cannot stress enough that I must win. We've all been hired to help me achieve victory. clean with the new staff. Am I making myself clear? Leave nothing to chance. No outsider is to enter the castle. No one is to go near our planes. If we lose in Ireland, I'm going to take it out on all of you. Anyhow, have a pleasant evening and let's have fun. What?
This is one of the most memorable moments of this game for me. Octavio's set of painting safes were elementary. Once you knew what you were looking for, the little numbers practically jumped off the screen, but you get to this one, which, yes, is cutscene art of Rajan's Spice Temple, and it's just like, I don't see them. No matter how close you look, they're just not there. Well, no biggie, there's a second painting over here. This art also comes from Predator Awakes, and this code may as well be in bright red ink. Easy peasy. But you plug it in, and get wrecked, idiot. But the thing is, this painting once again has 3 codes, but all 3 of them are hidden in the macro details of this image. What a great twist. You're so used to zooming in that it takes a while to catch the bigger picture. Incidentally, the second painting also has its combo hidden in 3 places, but the other 2 are likely to escape notice with the magnifying glass starting over the easy one. The flight roster isn't necessarily behind the temple painting. It's always behind whichever combination you solve second, ensuring you have to reckon with both. As you may well have come to expect, the climb in the middle there can be taken on in sprint form, and you can pretty easily cut out over half the obstacles by taking advantage of the slightly wonky hook physics. You can even reach the top of the castle before Baron disappears inside.
Okay, fellas. According to the Aces flight lineup, we'll be flying against Team Iceland and Team Belgium in tomorrow's semi-final round. As you're all aware, we've only got a single plane, while our opponents will be flying 15 apiece. You got that, guys? That's 30-to-1 odds against us. In order to give us a fighting chance, we'll need to pit these 2 teams against each other. First, Murray and Sly will paddle through the sewers beneath town to get access to an air vent leading into Team Iceland's hotel room. Steal one of their trademark Viking helmets, then head over to Team Belgium's hangar. Vandalize one of their aircraft, then plant the helmet in order to frame Team Iceland for the damage. Next, Murray and I will steal one of Team Belgium's monogrammed handkerchiefs. Meanwhile, the Guru will break into the Team Iceland supply truck carrying their lucky ice sculpture. Sly will steal the art and then place the handkerchief insinuating Team Belgium for the crime. Get it? We frame both teams so they'll be gunning for each other and not Sly in the semi-finals.
Certainly one of Bentley's more complex plans, though the game does a great job justifying it. There's really no alternative to playing as dirty as possible, so let's get to it. God, I can't get over how much I love our safe house this level, and the entrance is just our balcony. Though there is one drawback, the first time I played this game, I had no clue cheese was bouncy. Yeah, they try to show off that property in the opening, but the conveyance of the design really ain't there. So back on my first outing of this level, I was under the distinct impression you had to do this to reach this mission.
Looks like hard-partying Team Iceland has already gone to sleep. Time to borrow one of their Viking helmets.
Why do you need me? Just have Sly pick the lock to the door and steal the thing.
This is a delicate business. We're trying to frame Team Iceland for a crime they haven't committed. If there's any evidence of their door being forced, people might believe that they're innocent.
Man, you've gotten devious over the years. So, how are we supposed to get inside?
There are some sewer pipes beneath town that should connect up with the ventilation system of the hotel. Sly scrounged a raft for the trip, but be careful. Other pilots have caused trouble down there in the past, and the Baron is sure to have set up some security.
I get to row a boat? Nautical!
Murray's technically correct use of the word nautical in the way you'd expect someone to say awesome has always stuck with me. You know what, Murray? This is nautical. You own it, buddy. I was frankly disappointed to find out that this boat has no sort of popping or sinking animation for dying, but this whole course is easy enough I can understand why they wouldn't have felt that was necessary.
Make your way to the hotel ventilation system. Murray, stay and guard the boat.
The operation has never been in more jeopardy than it is right now. These rings are the most devious security measure yet concocted by any of our foes. This is so much fun, pulling myself away is going to be nearly impossible. Well played, Baron. Maybe you really are the best. Real nice hotel you got here, having a ventilation shaft connected directly to the sewer. Ugh.
Be careful not to wake these guys up. They're a paranoid group and have probably set up some crude burglar alarms.
Hey, Lars, you got the keys to the room?
Yeah, hold on. They're not there. Don't you have them?
No, you're the responsible one here. Let's just bang on the door.
No, everyone there is asleep, and I'm not gonna wake them all up. Those guys will shoot at us tomorrow if we do that.
Fine. We'll just go down to the front desk and ask for a spare. But you can forget about me being your wingman tomorrow.
The door these voices are emanating from is not the door to the lobby. I'd guess this would be the bathroom or a closet, unless Iceland's room has a secret passage behind the Baron's portrait. I know I keep banging this drum, but I love that you can see into the lobby from here. It's the little things. It's all collision modeled and functional, of course. If we clip over there, we can even ransack some things we wouldn't ordinarily be able to reach. Just as long as we don't break anything too close to Iceland's room.
Nice work. Head back to Murray and the raft.
Sorry, pal. The valve gates changed position. We need to escape through another tunnel. But fear not. The Murray has an unnatural sense of direction.
The problem with affecting a water reflection like this by modeling the level upside down beneath the waterline is that if you choose not to model anything prominent, like the boat or these spinny things, it kind of gives the game away, and leads one such as I in my youth to mistake these reflections for the floor, which inexplicably had ceiling lamps protruding from it like flowers.
Land ho!
This dock we've reached through the altered tunnels is not the same one we first cast off from. That one's back over there. In fact, these sewers are kind of befuddling to look at from out of bounds with all their offshoots. Larger, I think, than the overworld map, but I'm afraid it's not going to let me have a better look at things.
Nice job. You really showed some finesse with those oars.
The Murray is, and always has been, finesse.
Yeah. You good to plant this helmet on the Belgium plane?
Can do, pal. Can do with a vengeance.
You know, another problem with this cheese is it's labeled fromage, which is, in fact, not Dutch for cheese, but French. I'd guess it's imported, but then what's with the windmill branding? On the way over to the hangar, I happened upon an odd glitch with this airplane elevator. Activating the loot get cutscene caused it to suddenly reverse direction. I wonder why that is.
That's Belgium's prize plane strung up from the ceiling. It's held in place by these anchors. Destroy them and the plane should come crashing down.
Seems like these lasers might roast my hulking boat.
True. You'll have to compact yourself using your ball move to travel safely beneath the laser grid.
Check.
I love that the game waits to teach you this additional property of the ball form. It has a surprising amount of utility, enabling Murray to reach sprinting speeds while remaining silent, not unlike Sly's old raccoon roll. Now, I don't know how I did this. I was experimenting with the game out of bounds, and some combination of hijinks I pulled off caused me to spawn into this hangar as Sly. I have no clue how to replicate it, but I was pleased to learn that these lasers are over his head, no ball form necessary, and that this hook holding up Belgium's plane is hookable, even while the plane is in the way.
Excellent work! Plant the Viking helmet and the Belgians are sure to blame Team Iceland.
Murray has a new gadget to buy that he unfortunately isn't given much occasion to use this episode. The guttural roar, which scares the heebie-Jesus out of any guard that hears it. Great if you don't want to deal with them, but probably best for its comedic applications. It doesn't work on wild animals like the wolf or the croc, but it does work on Octavio, so Murray is canonically scarier than the enforcers back in his day. Sly, why are you looking at me like that? Sly's second tier push attack is probably the most incremental addition to his kit we've yet seen. The only improvement over the level 1 seems to be the distance at which its victims are launched.
Alright, see that armored supply truck? It's en route to drop off Team Iceland's lucky ice sculpture for the semifinals tomorrow. I've given the drivers some bad directions, so they should be going around in circles for hours.
I've always wondered exactly what these bad directions entailed. When you see the well in a square, take a left, and then another left, and then another left.
We need you to get inside that truck, steal the sculpture, and plant some evidence implicating Team Belgium. Now, the first thing to do is steal one of Team Belgium's official gold lace monogrammed handkerchiefs. Murray will head inside and get one of those stodgy Belgians laughing. They're notoriously stone-faced. Then I'll move in and steal the handkerchief.
Exploring the hotel as Murray, I was pleasantly surprised to learn he can use this door to the hotel room, same as Sly. Of course, this abandons the mission, so maybe don't do that. While in disguise, Murray's movement abilities are adjusted such that he's always sprinting. An interesting side effect of this is that by pushing the control stick only slightly, we get this unique sneaky trot animation that is hysterical. Okay, Murray, time to tickle this guy's funny bone.
Hello, Belgium flyer. Do you like comedy?
Oh no.
I think it's time for Mr. Salty Pants to crack a smile. What do you say?
Oh no. Oh no.
Why did the chicken cross the road to France? Because it wasn't turkey. And you see, the chicken's not a turkey or a Turk. It's a chicken, a French hen. What was Genghis Khan's favorite meal? The brains of his enemy. Get it? I mean, it's more weird and gross than funny, but I mean, you gotta admit, it's pretty weird.
What kind of animal do you think Genghis Khan was in this world? I'm thinking like a yak. Look, I really can neither add nor detract from these jokes. Murray's got me dead to rights here. I have no choice but to let him go off.
Ever see someone put their fist down their throat? Ta-da! Hey, fish! Stuck! I need help! Hey!
Okay, Bentley, it's go time. Make the pull while the Belgian's laughing, or he's sure to feel you fishing for the handkerchief.
Bentley can also go back to the room and abandon the job that way, but this seemed to upset the game slightly, as it briefly forgot it wasn't supposed to be raining inside the room. This giant stupid magnet is incredibly conspicuous, but don't worry, I'm sure no one is looking at the guy who's laughing so hard you can hear it from outside.
Nice work. Meet me outside with the goods. It's up to the guru now. I agree. The back door should be its weak spot. Yeah, I'm sure the guards around here won't mind too much if you break the door down with their heads.
Back in control of the guru. No, he is not selectable from within the safe house and will only ever be playable within specific missions. This is sort of odd, but I think it will make more sense the more we fill out our ranks. There is one neat difference in playing as him here compared to Australia, and that is his ability to transform adapts to his environment. Whereas before he took the form of a bush or rock, now he can be tulips, a wheel of cheese, or a pile of apples. Yeah, okay, it's a bit silly, but I think it's ultimately more charming. Now, the guru actually cannot enter the hotel room, but he can still interact with the various mechanisms about town, and has no qualms smashing a plane into someone's head. Doing so as any character will net you a trophy, by the way. But on to business. Smashing this truck is probably my favorite of the guru missions. It's interesting to see how Sucker Punch goes about escalating the difficulty given how powerful this kid is. Hitting the truck anywhere but spot on its rear will hurt you more than anything else, and the more damage you do, the faster it will drop these comically large bear traps. I think the guards run slightly faster once you let them loose, so jumping off all the trucks on a straightaway seems to be the best way to avoid these issues. A final stretch is Sly, making this a neat sort of mini heist where all 4 of our boys get a job to do. Though I have to imagine the back of a truck isn't the ideal environment to crack a lock by touch. But Sly's obviously built different. One icy fish, and the job is done. We never see that sculpture again. I bet we put it in a punch bowl or something.
Great work. Team Iceland is sure to blame the Belgians. They'll be all over each other in tomorrow's dogfight.
Now we've had our fun, time to play defense.
Murray. I've been working to get our Hangar security devices online, and they're almost operational. Unfortunately, my internet pal Penelope heard a rumor that a rival air team might be stopping by to do mischief to our plane.
Mischief makers? Coming here?
If you could stand watch while I finish getting the systems online, that would be great.
Fear not, Brainiac chum. You'll be safe while my fists are on duty. Greetings, troglodytes! Didn't think I forgot about Mesa City, did you? I figure you joints let me smash up your aeroplane and we're even.
Mugshot. Unlike Dimitri and the Claw Gang, it's hard to pin down a fan favorite of the original Fiendish 5, but the gangster's classic line,
"You break into my place, steal my stuff, trash the joint, I feel transgressed and violated." Let's rock!
is certainly one of the most memed.
You in what army, dumb guy? Army? Oh yeah? Okay, boys. I paid you up good enough. Time to crack some skulls.
His surprising polysyllabic vocabulary is still strongly represented here.
Get that Maloka! I'm Imperious Maximus! It's on a whack!
But the role he plays in this mission is especially interesting. It's not really about the fact that he's here, it's more that Sly's not. We're facing down one of the murderers responsible for orphaning Sly, and he's off, probably hobnobbing with some of the other pilots. It's a great representation of Bentley and Murray's rising significance within the gang, that this is their fight as much as it is Sly's, and matching Murray against him feels especially fitting. Mugshot is too strong to hurt with fists, and he has a plethora of voice lines he can respond to your attempts with.
I could take it all day, lightweight.
Instead, we're fending off the waves of goons while waiting for this mechanism to recharge.
Get that pig punk! These doors ain't holding themselves open!
A pretty simple boss fight, but nonetheless a cool combination of mechanics we haven't quite seen combined before.
Murder that ball of fat!
Whoa! How the heck did they get away with sneaking that in? Wow. You can see what looks like a large truck behind Mugshot here, and if we sneak a peek outside, we can see it's not just large, but comically massive. Maybe no match for our boy Big Truck, but still a bit hilarious. An odd detail with this hangar is the number 23 above the interior door. There's a hangar 23 outside, but it's the one across the runway from us. There's also a hangar 23 in the concept art, and no other numbered hangars anywhere in the level. I guess they just liked the number 23. Well, it is number 1 after all.
Oh! Right in the solar plexus. Don't think this is over, meatball. You're not untouchable. This is just the beginning of a really bad day.
Mugshot wasn't making idle threats. I'm reading multiple hostiles moving through the sewers toward our position. Fortunately, my security devices are almost online. I'll just have time for a quick test.
This is a marked leap from anything we've seen these games do before. Clearly a spiritual successor to Mojo Trap Action from Tangled Web, but a lot more sophisticated. It's fairly self-explanatory. The orientation of the traps matching that of the buttons is a stroke of genius. Makes it really easy to get the hang of, but once foes start pouring in from both sides at once, you're gonna have to dial in. This first wave has a really arbitrary fail condition. Let one through and Murray will dispatch the intruder no problem, but let like 5 through and he just gives up.
We stopped that group, Murray, but it looks like more are on the way, and they're packing explosives.
The explosives the second wave are packing are just rocks. Well, now the plane has a health bar, and the failure condition makes much more sense. Oh my god, these rocks are explosive. Why does that keep happening? I knew from experience that these sewer sections had to be around the hangar somewhere on the same map, and I did manage to find them way up in the sky. Nothing too glamorous to explore on foot, though I did get a chuckle out of the way this mashy spike plate only has spikes on the edges visible to the camera. A convincing little time saver, but now that I know, I can't unsee it. This mission has the one instance of unused music I know of in the entire trilogy. Basically, many songs in these games have a subdued variant that plays when you're sneaking up on something. There's one of those in the hangar, but nothing to sneak up on. It's nothing terribly exciting though. It sounds like someone's just kinda noodling around on the timpani.
Mugshot'll need a lot more than muscle to intimidate us.
Looks like he's got muscle and mortar fire. Maybe it's time I brought in some backup. Just hope she's monitoring the ham radio frequencies. Penelope, do you read me? Are you out there?
I read ya, Bentley.
It's Freddy Fish!
You should try having brainstorms on a more regular basis. But your hangar is getting attacked by some traitorous, paid-off Black Baron goons. Don't worry, I won't let those honorless double-crossers hurt your team's plane.
Is your RC chopper operational?
Affirmative. It's deployed and airborne.
You're a heck of a woman.
I know. That's what my homepage says.
As an RC specialist, our first control of Penelope is a chopper quite similar to Bentley's. To be frank, this game never quite does anything to demonstrate that Penelope's piloting skills are better than those of our resident mastermind.
Oh, wait! I just installed a Yank 86 and haven't had time to read the specs. Are you familiar with the device?
Absolutely.
But I'm willing to accept he may have simply wanted someone to run that aspect of things so he could be free to coordinate, if it means we get to flesh out our team with characters like this one.
Wow, that's dangerous.
I'm probably not doing a great job of hiding it, but this mousy mechanic is my favorite.
We're not afraid of heights.
This Yank 86 is a lot more involved than Bentley's old bombs. There's at least more to think about, but the best thing about it is that yes, anything you launch will die regardless of where they land, but it's entirely possible to hit the airborne goon and finish them off that way. And once you figure that out, there's no going back. It is far too satisfying. While all these guards are Black Baron turncoats, the tanks seem to belong to Mugshot directly, marked with the same M logo as that private party sign. Oh my Jesus, there's nothing left! It's a fairly long endurance challenge, but that's just more time you get to spend listening to Penelope's banger of a theme.
Great job, Penelope. You're the best RC pilot I've ever seen.
Those thugs deserved it. No one sells out the Black Baron and walks away scot-free.
That mission unlocked 3, count them, 3 Master Thief challenges. Mugshot Goon Attack is another cakewalk. Once again, the only limit on how long we can spend dispatching hogs and hares is Murray's considerable HP, so the goal of 30 only takes a minute. Of course, no surprise, the upper limit on the score is 1,000, though not remotely difficult, still quite a chore thanks to the enemy's rigid spawning timers. It took about an hour to reach. Security Breach is exactly the sort of thing I really appreciate the Master Thief trials for. A more hectic influx of guards and a reduced HP bar on the plane. I almost wish there were an endless mode that ramped up faster and faster, but this is a close second. Defend the Hangar feels less necessary. Given how slowly they eased us into this minigame, an extra challenge would be welcome, but unlike the sewers, the enemies here feel no more numerous than they were in the core mission. The Hangar's got less HP, but its base HP is so high, even halved, it's still a fortress. That one has a Penelope-specific mission complete screen. She looks a bit different than she did in her profile pic, but I wouldn't worry about it. This one's probably just photoshopped. Now for the main event.
Stay sharp, Sly! Iceland and Belgium will be at each other's throats up there, but you're still outnumbered!
Relax, Mom. This is gonna be great!
I think it's fair to say that this series' vehicle segments are its most notorious, stretching all the way back to the Lycidious Crabs level in Tide of Terror, if not even further considering this submarine mission is some of the earliest development footage we have. It's no understatement that all these locomotions are baked into Sly's very DNA. In a dev interview, developer Medan barely touches on the team's reasoning.
You know, there's a bunch more mini-games, just like the last game. I think you sort of need to do that with this kind of game, you know, all kinds of different experiences.
He doesn't elaborate on this need, but I think this is what it boils down to. The core concept of Sly as a game, once you strip away all the thiefiness, is a platformer where the central gimmick is a button that does most of the platforming for you. The vehicles and other gimmicky segments are, in my estimation, Sucker Punch's best efforts to evolve that concept. Obviously, it wouldn't be fair to strip away all the thiefiness, so at every juncture, the designers asked themselves, what's something else a crack squad of thieves would do? High-speed chases, stylized hacking, a love of all things that go boom, and thus we get these incredibly varied interludes. The problem, as I've addressed once or twice before, is that no one booting up any of the Sly Cooper games is doing so going,
"Oh boy, I can't wait to see how far things deviate from the central platforming system."
And yet, ever the stubbornly ambitious, Sucker Punch decided the solution to such criticism wasn't to remove the gimmicks, but to bend all sail towards making them as enjoyable and fleshed out as they could. And thus, the dogfights.
The semi-final round between Team Iceland, Team Cooper, and Team Belgium is now underway. The fans are out. Dogfight action, ring action.
Okay, now, the winner here is the last man standing. Lead your opponent opponents and watch your six. I know how you hate being burned alive at 500 feet.
I think it reflects an extraordinary elegance of design that almost nothing about this mode is explained. Unlike every vehicle I just showed, the only tutorial Bentley offers is on where to find more ammo, and even that's strictly contextual based on if you try firing with an empty cache.
You're out of bullets. Lie down underneath one of the bridges and pick up some more rounds.
The fire button is identical to that of the gondola, and that's all that's strictly necessary. But experiment a bit and you'll find every face button has a function. X to boost, square to slow down, triangle to do a loop, and circle in conjunction with different directions held to perform various maneuvers that will help you get the edge on your opponents. This environment is delightful, thoroughly destructible, and almost everything on the ground will burn quite merrily if it catches a stray bullet. It's also deliciously dynamic, the swarm of biplanes all ripping each other apart around you. Interestingly enough, though Iceland and Belgium are capable of shooting each other down, or even crashing into each other, the number of planes we need to destroy will never increment until we are directly responsible for the carnage. Presumably, anyone brought down by any other means simply respawns covertly off camera. Our goal is only 25 planes though, not 30. The implication being that those other 5 already fell victim to the flames of rivalry we spent last night stoking. If you're curious, Belgium's still got 13 planes airborne, Iceland has 12. Gosh, it's just so bloody brilliant! Rich with little details like the particle effects you get when grazing along the ground or zipping across the surface of the water. I would have thought this was all scaled down, our planes and the environment around us effectively forming a miniature diorama, but no. Hacking the game to run about on foot, every feature is the size it would be in the overworld, apart of course from the details beyond the arena's limits. And the cherry on top is Dimitri Listow's colorful color commentary. He even has a bit of an Easter egg included should you dare to fly through this barn at the center of the map. This is a clever reference to barnstorming, a term which describes an old form of entertainment best described as stunt pilots. And flying through the open doors of a barn like this is exactly the sort of thing an old-timey barnstormer might have done, though that's not actually where it got its name. The term was coined because the pilots preferred to use local barns as hangars, since their shows toured the countryside. Now as for strategy, this isn't terribly complicated, but I like that there's no means of health recovery in the area, so this does necessitate a bit of finesse. Holding square to more easily line up your shots should hold you in good stead. And all according to plan, you are well beneath the notice of these rival teams, so the most damage you're likely to take is from crashing into stuff. I think the implication here is that the superior engineering of Sly's plane, the fact that it's faster, sturdier, and better armed, in addition to Sly's own piloting skills, are all on account of Otto von Cooper's entries in the Thievius Raccoonus. Though it's never mentioned specifically, I like when an ancestor is represented in spirit like that. I have just one small nit to pick here though, and that is the homogenized designs of the enemy pilots, each and every one looking rather like a hamster, which we know at least most of the Iceland boys are moose. By the way, this took me forever to catch on to. The black planes are the Icelandic ones, the blue ones are Belgian. By far one of the funniest things you can do in this mission is to single out only one of the enemy team and shoot down only their planes. Once they're all out of the picture, the other team will absolutely swarm you and get taken apart by a total lack of coordination. I guess being a team of one has its perks sometimes. Almost snuck that one by me. Sucker Punch is running the joke. I didn't mention this one because it's the sort of thing I've heard a native French speaker actually say, whereas this should be lay finals, if anything, so I'm counting it. Precision Air Duel calls upon us to do exactly what I just did. Note how they call the Iceland planes tri-wings. They knew it was confusing. This mission does have a small margin for error. You are allowed to take down 3 blue planes before it fails you, which I imagine they had to do because sometimes they will just crash directly into you. There's not much different here, save for one strange addition, this ammo pack hanging in the barn. I have to wonder why it wasn't there in the first round. The heck, why does this one track your score? It's not like you could possibly get something other than 12. There's another 2-player mode unlocked from completing the semifinals. Biplane Duel once again pits Sly and Carmelita against each other, but this time on much more even footing, or landing gear, I suppose. These planes are identical to the one we control in the single-player mode, though much more fragile. Other differences include the rainy nighttime backdrop, these 2 extra barns on the ground, and the addition of power-ups to spice things up. Most aren't terribly useful. I can't imagine how asleep at the wheel one would have to be to die to this napalm attack, but the shield makes a kamikaze strike far more viable, and the nuke, oh lord, that's a bit overkill, is an effective deterrent to your opponent and no mistake. If you get a close look at the mines, you'll see they have an identical design to the ones guarding the sewers. And finally, it continues to be a nice touch that Dimitri runs commentary here.
Carmelita's the man!
He actually did the same in Cops and Robbers.
Sly is dynamite!
But without the context of Flight of Fancy, that doesn't make too much sense, so I didn't acknowledge it.
Thanks to Sly's flying, we're officially in the Aces Finals. Our opponents, Team Mugshot and Team Black Baron.
This is by far the longest Chalk Talk yet. It's almost 2 full minutes of Bentley breaking down our even steeper odds against Team Mugshot and Team Black Baron. The plans revolve around getting Mugshot knocked out of the fight completely and crippling the Baron's considerable resources. And Bentley's got a real crackerjack tactic to pull that off. Ready?
Here's the plan. I'll challenge him to a fist fight out in the town square. All right, team, we've got all night to prepare. If we take this thing, it'll mean more than a trophy. Penelope is sure to join our gang. After her stellar work defending our hangar, I'm sure we'd all agree that she's a prime recruit. It's time we dealt with Mugshot. We can't risk him taking down the Baron before you in the finals.
Not to mention he deserves a little payback for what he did to our aircraft hangar.
True. Since Mugshot's assault, the Baron has been keeping an eye on it. We can't fight him out in the open for risk of getting disqualified. Thankfully, Inspector Fox is out in the field looking for us.
I hear ya. We'll set them against each other. Mugshot is an international criminal after all. Carmelita won't be able to resist.
My only concern is for Inspector Fox's safety.
Oh, don't worry about her. She's more than a match for a meathead like Mugshot.
Okay, I'll pick a fight with Mugshot and bait him into meeting in the town square for our rumble.
You do that. I'll get Carmelita's attention and lead her back here to the same place.
Agreed.
I've got to hand it to you, Bentley. This is a really underhanded plan.
Why, thank you. I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Yeah, okay, Bentley's actual plan was to bait Mugshot into a shootout with Carmelita, but I just wanted to bask in that moment where Bentley's confidence has shot up high enough that he felt he could brawl with 300 pounds of muscle and leather. Even though he's not about to get his hands dirty, what he's about to do instead takes no fewer balls.
I'll beat it, twerp. The Black Baron's been giving me the grill since that event in your hangar.
Perhaps you'd like to take out some frustration by engaging in a physical battle with me outside the town square.
No way! I'm being watched here. That, and it wouldn't feel right pounding a 4-eyed runt in a wheelchair.
Bentley's like, whatever. I've faced down Jean Bassan, Don Octavio, and the jaws of Clockwork. What's this leadhead gonna do?
I'm sure you wouldn't win in the fight anyway. You've got such a long, sad history of losing to the Cooper gang.
I could whip your whole gang with one arm if you jerks would sit still. Look at these arms. I'm unstoppable.
You know, I've been thinking about your appearance.
Look, if you don't got nothing to say nice, then don't say nothing at all. Get it? What? Ain't got no sassy comments, smart guy? Oh, I get it. You got nothing nice to say, so you're keeping quiet. That's real cute. You really got nothing nice to say? That's cold.
I'm about to end this man's whole career.
Your mother was a broken down tub of junk with more gentleman callers than the operator.
Oh! Nobody talks that way about my mother. Nobody! Okay, little broken down runt. Looks like you're gonna get broken down even more.
Town square, 5 minutes. Please don't be late.
I have no idea how Mugshot's gonna keep that appointment, Bentley, not when being left in flames like that.
Okay, Sly. Mugshot is on his way outside. Go find Inspector Fox and lead her back to the town square.
In control of Sly, we've picked up 3 new power-ups on Holland Day 2. Silent Obliteration has seen no changes from the previous game, a quieter stealth takedown that nonetheless takes slightly longer to pull off, and the level 3 spin attack is fairly worthless. It has a ridiculously long duration, but it launches little guys so far away and seems to be capped at only dealing 2 hits to the bigger guys, so I'm left to assume its purpose is for crowd control, and may have in fact been more useful an episode ago. There is one nice thing about it. Ordinarily, when sneaking up on a guard, the charge command will be overridden by Sly's uppercut to prime the stealth takedown, so if you want to use the quicker and quieter jump attack, you have to start charging it up while out of sneaking range, and having a third stage of charge is a nice option. It's especially fun to combine with the rocket boots. They did a great job of making a number of Sly's abilities interact with each other, but the coolest get this round is Shadow Power. Invisibility has played an odd role in the series so far. In the original, it was the ultimate upgrade to Sly's core abilities, mapped as a central function of the circle button to be abused most terribly by the player. In Sly 2, it could only be obtained from the game's final vault, by which point there was, at most, one more mission you might be able to use it in without the use of cheat codes. It was little more than a trophy. Not so here. We have nearly half the game to go nuts with this, and the jobs and challenges menu to play around with too, and oh my goodness, is this a joy. It packs the usual restrictions. While invisible, we can't run, jump, attack, or use any thieving opportunities, but all I'll note on that front is the conspicuous presence of level 1 in this gadget's name now.
Hey, Inspector Fox. Still looking for a date to the prom?
Quit running and I'll pin the corsage on you.
This Carmelita chase is painstakingly short-lived. Mechanically, it's a treat to have access to the entire map, and for her to be persistent enough not to give up the hunt no matter how unreachable you are. But this really is just a short stint across town, and it's over.
Blast it, Sly. Why run? Why not face me like a real man?
Mess with me? That little punk is gonna eat dirt. Hey! You're that cop hag that busted me back in Mesa City!
Mugshot, alias Two-Gun Tony, also known as Meathead Mugshot. 7 foot 3 inches, 324 pounds, wanted in 7 countries with 13 outstanding warrants for your arrest. And yes, I'm that cop hag that put you away back in Mesa.
Well, wise guy, lady, feel like going for another shot at the title?
It's my duty to put you behind bars. That, and I enjoy making tough guys cry like the stupid babies they really are.
I ain't no stupid baby!
This really is Carmelita's game. Not just the ability to play as her, technically that's not new, but the focus on her strengths and abilities has never been stronger. It's worth bringing up that she's the only member of the cast we've seen so far to have been recast, not just once, but twice. From Roxanne Ortega to Alicia Glidewell to Ruth Livier.
Plenty of time for that once you're safely behind bars.
Whereas you crooks are so predictable.
Sly Cooper. Should have figured you'd show up.
It's kind of a shame, because it's easily the first thing people notice each time she initially pipes up in both sequels.
These taser packs a paralyzing punch.
And that tends to undermine the actual characterization at play. In that spirit, I don't really want to dwell on which voice actress I prefer. Not when the evolution of her role in these games is so much more compelling to me. This sort of anti-hero role is far from unique to Sly, but as always, the way you get to experience that dynamic through gameplay makes it feel that much more potent. The challenge for Sucker Punch has always been based on how to make her feel as hyper-competent as she's written, despite the fact Sly never fails to give her the slip. And especially how to keep her from feeling like a typical damsel in distress character when she's captured by Clockwork or the Contessa. And what I love is that the answer has come to be that Sly and the gang rely on her practically as much as if she were one of our own. And the stroke of genius is including her in our plans as a way to bring that across. Taking control of her shock pistol and ripping into one of the toughest foes Sly has ever faced is a powerful first-hand experience, but the subtextual threads being woven beneath these shootouts are absolutely intoxicating. Is it just me, or does this part of Mugshot's theme sound like the Pokemon anime? Oh yeah, right, the fight itself. Well, Mugshot's got some tools of destruction up his sleeves, and though I see most people keep the action to this square, the whole map is our playground right now. Letting things rage across all of Kinderdijk is a great time, but I don't think the devs quite accounted for that possibility, as you can completely cheese this fight into itty-bitty slices by simply claiming a bit of especially high ground. Let's not do that. I adore that his movement patterns and firing methods are nearly identical to his boss fight from Sunset Snake Eyes, though when he's got you in his sights, he is far more relentless. His only curveball is his ability to hurl dynamite at you when you're on the rooftops.
This ain't no pillow fight.
It'll take a much more significant bite out of your health, but it's slow enough that that shouldn't be too much of an issue to avoid. As far as explosives go, this fight is essentially the only practical use I can find for these explosive gas tanks all around the level, as they actually will do more damage than one of your shots if you light one up when Mugshot's close enough. On the whole, cheese or not, this fight shouldn't give you any problems. You can outrun him, outgun him, outsmart him. We've seen Carmelita face down a train before. Two-Gun Tony ain't even gonna be a scuff on her boot.
Mother? That you? I'm sorry. I didn't know they was yours.
Ugh, booking this idiot'll take all night. Oh well, I'm sure Cooper won't make his move anytime soon.
Speaking of trains, I'm a master of segues, we've unlocked part 2 of Goodbye My Sweet. Frankly, I have no idea how. Every source I can find online says this movie is supposed to become available after passing 70% game completion. So either they're all wrong, or I've found an obscure glitch, but yeah well. There's not much for me to comment on in this scene, though the parallel shot of Sly and Carmelita with this animation on their ears and cheek fur is quite appealing. The rest all plays out fairly standard, though admittedly stylish. Really, I'm just not sure why they felt the need to separate this into 2 parts at all. It was a weird place for a cliffhanger, and I believe the appeal here is more down to the presentation than the story being told. We do get another newspaper to pore over, and while everything in this shot is identical to the first one, we get a bit more to look at on this page. It's just a matter of time, I can assure you of that. Sly Cooper, if that is his real name, is a low-level street thug, and he won't be able to slip through our fingers again. As we speak, I have agents all around the world working diligently to make sure that Sly Cooper will spend the rest of his life behind bars. Darn ringtail. That's quite a lot of comment for a woman with no comments, Carmelita. One-woman army. Take down 15 guards before Mugshot. Insert token joke about unnecessary police brutality here. At this point, you guys know the drill. There's no real obstacles to completing this challenge, especially not when the very act of pursuing it grants you enough health packs to patch up all the Fallen Aces competitors and so much more. And Mugshot moves slowly enough that as long as you keep circling the area, he'll never catch you. There is one interesting difference from the story mission, the inclusion of flashlight guards. I can't tell if that was intended to make this easier or harder, since unlike the bunnies and piggies, the rams have no resistance to electricity and so can be one-shot by our shock pistol. They're also bizarrely aggressive, running at you even before they've spotted you. Are we okay assuming the max score is 1,000 at this point? It took me about 20 minutes to get to this point when I discovered that these explosives take you down in one hit. So shall we all just pretend I spent the extra hour and a half on this and carry on with our lives? Why yes, I do believe we shall. On our way over to the next job, Giant Wolf Massacre, which will surely maintain our cast's strict moral code, I want to point out this odd divot in the cliff wall here. It looks significant, decorated with plants and all, worth keeping in mind.
Aha! A perfect feral specimen of Lupus gigantormus.
So let me get this straight again. You plan on stalking that thing, drugging it, putting the guru on board, and setting the 2 free to smash up the guards?
An airtight plan, I agree. It's simplicity itself. By channeling the wild destruction housed in that bloodthirsty creature, we should be able to thin out the Black Baron's ranks. Which, of course, means fewer enemy pilots flying against you in the finals.
I'm all for evening the odds in our favor, but come on. This plan seems a little risky.
Not at all. I've modified my sleep darts with heavy doses of skunk balm. It should be enough to pacify the beast. Provided he doesn't catch wind of me first.
Skunk balm, huh? Sucker Punch out here making up whatever they want and getting away with it.
Alright, that sounds okay. You can hang back and shoot him at a distance.
Well, given the weight of the darts, I'll need to sneak up behind him and take a shot within a few meters.
Meters?
Quit trying to freak me out and put the guru on the monocucom. After I put the wolf to sleep, it'll be up to you.
Hoja.
Thanks, Guru. You always know just what to say.
Taking control of Bentley on the field, I want to ignore the wolf for a bit and take a turn about town to show off a few more devious additions this game has made to his abilities. First, the Insanity Strike gadget, once one of Sly's, is better suited to our duplicitous tortoise. It's received some changes since the last game, now highlighting affected enemies with a green aura, and though it will eventually wear off, it's been significantly improved in a number of chaotic ways. Enemies under its effects will aggressively seek out other guards, spreading the insanity to those they hit, and scaring away those they haven't. Though still far from practical, it's deeply entertaining, and can be combined with Bentley's many other tools in a lot of creative ways. As far as those other tools go, some of you guys in the comments have let me know some properties of his darts and bombs that I was not aware of. XAndrewXFTW told me he now has the ability to reverse pickpocket his bombs onto unaware guards by sneaking up on them and holding triangle until his chair's arm curves back. Bombs attached in this matter are actually more deadly than the usual kind, which makes sense. I certainly wouldn't want a bomb going off in my pocket. This is so much fun, essentially giving him his own version of a stealth takedown. There's even a trophy in the modern releases for doing it 5 times. If you get into a scrape, as a bit of an advanced tactic, you can let loose a dart the instant you press the Binocucom button. No need to wait for the interface to cover the screen. So if you first get your target centered on screen, or just get really close to him, you can crack off a dart in the heat of the moment. The hairs have the goofiest sleeping animation. Rumble informed me that Bentley's darts are also capable of activating trap buttons. Okay, I mean, come on. That's cool. Like, that's so freaking cool! Your imagination is truly the limit as far as the antics you can pull off with this chair. Try everything, it'll probably work, or at least fail in truly glorious fashion. Unfortunately, for all the effort they put into making Bentley so fun to play as, you never really have to. Let's consider for a minute every mission we've taken on as him. Gondola minigame, cracking Octavio's painting safes, handing off the reins to Murray, a brief stint of frantic bombing, opera minigame, another gondola chase, handing off the reins to the Guru, a bit of a bar fight, sleep darting Carmelarja, cracking the Baron's painting safes, using security traps to defend the hangar, and a dialogue tree before handing things off to Sly and Carmelita. You know what's missing is any opportunity to use his suite of options for clearing out unaware guards. Give me a Far Cry style stealthy base assault or something. But this will remain a consistent issue. They've made Bentley more fun than their headliner, yet the only time you can really let loose with him is while just goofing off in the overworld. Don't get me wrong, that's fun to do, but it leaves quite a bit to be desired. This mission does give us a bit of an opportunity to flex our creative muscles though. While we could sneak up behind the wolf and pop him one before running for our lives, far better to serve up a guard on a platter, than do your work while he's distracted. Oh, who's a good boy? You are. Yes you are.
Nice work, big game hunter. The skunk bomb is kicking in. He's almost asleep.
Okay, so that divot in the wall is supposed to be the wolf's den? My dude, this is such a sad little hovel. What is this? He'll occasionally stir and then settle right back down, but even asleep, the nearby guards are still terrified of him.
Mow down these thugs.
I'll quietly sweep under the rug any criticism I might make of this level's premise, the impracticality of it given just how many means we have at our disposal of disposing of these pilot guards, because this rip-roaring rampage is a jolly good time. The wolf jumps high enough he can even reach the top of the castle. Running over rooftops and pouncing upon all these guards running scared is a worthy power trip. Crashing through the scenery like it's paper is also pretty satisfying and occasionally even charming. Like when you notice these trees explode with a burst of apples. And hey, at least it doesn't look like this thing is actually eating them. A light bit of mauling to keep them from suiting up tomorrow. That's all.
Excellent. That should even the odds tomorrow in the finals.
Wolf Rampage challenges us to do the same thing, while avoiding serious damage to the wolf. Much like the Hangar, he's tough enough that you're not likely to feel the difference anyway. The only thing likely to kill you was the water. Interestingly, the wolf can drop coins and a health pack, but you'd never be able to pick them up. Even if you felt the strain here, this is the first health handicap challenge where we can simply heal off the damage deficit, making this an even more nothing challenge than it already was. Neat bit of beta left over on this mission select. It's portrayed on the nighttime map, and that is the most noteworthy thing here. I suppose I could also mention his HP icon is identical to the dingo icon from last episode. Hope you weren't expecting to sneak that one past me, Sucker Punch. Now to take Bentley's much improved platforming capabilities for a spin.
How do you plan to hack into the aircraft control tower?
It's simple, really. The whole system is linked through computer nodes which monitor the power generated by the nearby windmills.
Seriously? All the power around here comes from the local windmills? I thought they were just for looks.
The control nodes tell a different story.
How do you plan to get up there? It's pretty high.
My turbo chair has been outfitted with an extra afterburner. Heights such as that are nothing to me.
There is a smidgen of optional dialogue if you try to undertake this mission without the necessary gadget.
Appears I'll need to buy a hover pack for this job.
It's not exactly this mission's focus, though. Instead, we're getting back into the hacking saddle.
Prepare yourself, computer. I will show no mercy.
Now, if you've watched my Sly 2 videos, you'll remember I was fond of hacking mechanically, but its level design, and especially its tendency to reuse the same level like 3 times in a single mission, left something to be desired. The last few levels in the final chapters were starting to scratch that itch though, so hopefully things escalate out of tutorial territory a bit quicker this time around. We've already got a number of new mechanics on display, so it's looking promising.
Another falls before my digital kung fu.
Reaching the top of these windmills is really no issue with this level of aerial control. In fact, it hardly bears mentioning. One very cool detail about this triple booster power-up though, and its role as a required gadget, is that you can see Bentley making use of it in the prologue as a light bit of foreshadowing.
Come, grasshopper. Kneel before the feet of the master.
Oh, things have absolutely escalated quickly. Heck yeah. We have to face down a whole firing squad making use of these unique cover mechanics, and carefully timing our movements to exploit gaps in their firing rate. We're forced to remain on the move rather than camp in one spot thanks to these circular lockdown codes we need to transport, and this digital black hole serves as an extra curveball to keep things tricky. We are so back! Another cool detail I like about this booster is that the thrusters used to propel our jumps are the same used in the Adrenaline Rush, same sound effects and all, which is a satisfying bit of consistency. Much like before, this is still a repeating level design, but the way each iteration is built upon makes that pretty difficult to notice. This is excellent. Keep it up, Bentley. One last cool detail about the thruster, you can see in Bentley's jumping animation that pressing the big red button on his chair is what activates the afterburners. This last gauntlet is downright hectic. Projectiles flying everywhere, multiple cyber tanks with force fields holding our keys hostage. Whoo-hoo, color me satisfied.
Success! I've got total access. Wait, the code's unstable. Everything's speeding up. Windmill throwing stars, eh? This little system bug might come in handy. Thanks to our combined efforts, we're now ready for the final round of the Aces dogfighting competition. Put on your helmets, because it's time for Operation Turbo Dominant Eagle. In just a few hours, Team Iceland and Team Belgium will begin fighting it out in the B-Champs round. This will provide the perfect cover for step 1 of my plan. Sly, use the catapult and your paraglider to get access to the local gunships. Plant some tracking devices, then head back to the team hangar and suit up for the finals. Murray, you're up next. Use your rowboat to pull down the aircraft communication antenna. With it out of commission, the Baron will have to use an unscrambled radio frequency to call in the gunships for backup. If that happens, I'll be ready with our secret weapon. And with the tracking devices installed, I'm guaranteed not to miss. In the end, though, it'll be up to Sly. This is a sudden death competition. The first team to take out last year's champ wins. That's if the Black Baron doesn't take out all the competition first.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but that seems like a truly terrible spot for that plane's gun, right? Once again, if you've yet to buy the paraglider, Bentley will give you a gentle reminder once you reach the waypoint.
Sly, you'll need a paraglider for the heist. Once you buy one, we can get things started.
Excellent! The B-Champs dogfight is beginning! With these guys going at it, no one will notice as you slip onto the gunships and plant a tracking device.
Sounds straightforward enough. Where'd you get these trackers? They look kind of funny.
Best I could do on short notice. They're sensitive to extreme changes in altitude. You'll have to pull this job off at high elevation or it's a bust.
This mission puts me very much in mind of the heist of a tangled web. blimps, fighter planes, and us paragliding desperately between them all. It makes me feel like a little kid again. It's simply delightful sailing over this level, watching the competition wage on beneath us, and look how much this level's changed since we did this on our way to the first mission. I love that this is the only level in which the weather changes, in addition to the time of day. Plus, you can see the damage we wrought in that last mission, with this river here nearly overflowing. The failure barrier is just low enough that we can touch down on 2 specific points. There's no way back on a blimp from them, but the view is nice.
Nice work, Flyboy. The gunship's GPS data is flowing in. Head back to the hangar and suit up. All right, Murray. The Black Baron's communication antenna is held up by 3 support beams. Pull them out of place, and the whole array will fall apart.
Don't worry. If there's one thing I'm good at, it's rowing. And breaking stuff.
Now we're down in the thick of it, and Iceland and Belgium have begun shooting each other down exclusively over top of us. Holy crap. I thought this competition was called Aces, not Faces Down in the Water. Got him. This leg of the heist is pretty satisfying. There's something to the rope or the current that makes you feel like you're really fighting against some force here, which helps me suspend my disbelief as to this rubber boat's abilities to shatter these support beams. What the game doesn't tell you is that you are more than welcome to row down to the opposite end of the river. Even though it is further than the breaking point in the expected direction, this doesn't accomplish anything, though I did find out these bullets whizzing by are fully functional projectiles, as I've nearly come to expect.
The Murray has broken you! Let that be a lesson to all antennas! I will not be trifled with!
This is it! Eye of the tiger, pal! Look for the Black Baron! Take him out and this competition is all over! And go easy on the throttle! It's been sticking lately!
Quit worrying! I'll see you in the winner's circle!
Okay, it's the big time final round. This is what you pay for, heroes. The best of the best, going at it like cats and king cobras. The skies are full with the danger!
The finals. Despite Mugshot's absence, his team is soldiering on up here. A beta screenshot of this game reveals that Mugshot was once intended to be an aerial adversary during this mission, perhaps even the reigning champ, though we know the Carmelita vs. Mugshot mission was also one of the earlier ones completed, so this must be a very beta screenshot indeed. Something I never would have tried if not for this project, you can shoot down all your competition, even though the Baron's plane is the only objective. There isn't much different about this dogfight from the semifinals, though I suspect Team Mugshot's AI is more likely to try and crash into you, or perhaps I'm just unlucky. No, the only difference is how tough Double B is. A testament to Penelope's skill as a mechanic, no doubt, and he's also a slightly fancier flyer than any of the others. There is one way we can mix things up though. Like Sly 2 and many other PS2 games of this era, Sly 3 contains a cheat code system. We'll go over the bulk of them another time, but there is one we can pull off while airborne. Pause the game, press R1, R1, right, down, right, and when you resume, you'll find yourself piloting a very different plane, bedecked in Toonami iconography. Toonami was a TV slot that ran on Cartoon Network back when this game was the new hotness, and its producers seem to have had a pretty cozy relationship with Sucker Punch. A lot of promotions and even sweepstakes for both this game and Sly 2 ran on it back in the day, and in exchange, Sucker Punch snuck in a reference or two like this one. The plane itself isn't just a skin either. Its guns are centered on the fuselage, which makes it feel much more accurate, and it packs an infinite stock of rockets on the L1 button. These look like the biplane dual heat seekers, but they have no homing capabilities. Though they are, I believe, 3 times as powerful as a single bullet, that's still not enough to one-shot any of the opposition, and the extra smoke that they give off can really cripple your visibility. Taking down planes with these feels more like a self-imposed challenge than a cheat code, but hey, I like a challenge. This code works in any mission that puts you in a plane, including 2-player mode, though it only works for Sly. I was kinda hoping Carmelita would get an orange one. In addition to Dimitri's continued commentary, the Baron can make a few callouts of his own if he lands a shot on you. Get up on his grill though, and his HP bar will fall pretty quickly.
Right. That raccoon is good. Gunships, converge on my position and destroy the Cooper aircraft. Send in a spare plane as well.
Oh god, he's calling in an entire half a plane.
Roger, Baron. All units en route.
Sorry, Baron, but you'll have to fight fair this year.
What? Who is this? How did you find this frequency? What? No? Is this? Oh, I command it!
This scene takes place entirely within gameplay, and this windmill can be destroyed if the stars happen to align.
Oh, this plane's come unfixed. High time for an upgrade, I say.
Oh, no, you don't, you weasel.
Weasels, am I?
This line is brilliant, and I'm not gonna tell you why.
I beat you. Your biplane is in pieces.
But we're both still airborne, aren't we? The victor has yet to be decided.
Then, let's settle it.
Beware, my boy. I've trained 10 years in fisticuffs. Pugilism is my passion.
If you fight as well as you fly, this shouldn't take long.
On guard!
The Black Baron, easily the most diminutive boss we've fought, but no less formidable. Another elegant bit of design, Bentley has a tip lined up for you, but he'll only give it if you lose.
Victory! I have won again!
Keep your distance. He's a master boxer. Wait till he commits to a big punch, then strike!
His lack of ranged options is his biggest weakness. You can pretty easily weave in and out of his range and take him apart, however, each time you down a quarter of his health, he'll cling to the edge of the wing and summon a load of hogs to try and deal with you, and in such numbers, they can be troublesome. Try to get him lined up and push him off the plane. At half health, our posh pugilist will add this ground pound attack to his repertoire, which turns the whole wing into a hitbox. You have to jump to evade it, but it actually causes the whole arena to dip down, so staying out of range isn't a problem. On that note, this arena is really impressive, if a bit dizzying. To prevent us from flying off the wing every time we jump, the plane itself isn't actually moving, apart from tilting forward and back. Instead, the whole dogfighting map is spinning like a record, as well as rising and falling. This is easier to see the higher you get, and you can see that though the skybox is also rotating, it doesn't rise and fall with the map. In his final phase, pigs will pour onto the wing constantly. Their attacks are quite capable of hurting their boss, but I wouldn't call relying on that a sound tactic. Just keep up the pressure, and we've got him. As usual, this boss fight comes with a Master Thief challenge, a simple time attack, and also as usual, this doesn't really mix things up, so I don't feel bad tackling it out of sequence like this. Dealing with the pigs as fast as possible is the only real time saver. Just set up shop by the door and knock them off the front of the wing, and you should be able to wrap things up with minimal extra effort.
A fatal blow!
That's enough. You win, Cooper.
Yo, this rules! Ah, what a cool twist. I'll gush more in a minute.
You are the Black Baron.
Suppose someone was bound to find out sooner or later. I guess I'm kind of relieved.
But why?
Look, let's talk on the ground where it's safe.
It was quite a revelation. Penelope and the Black Baron were one and the same.
It bothers me that they took the time to draw her shadow on the ground of this shot, but not to animate it with her.
But before we could even process this turn of events, we were rushed to the winner's circle. Somehow, against all odds, we become this year's champions. There was a bit of an awkward moment between Bentley and Penelope. I guess the photos they'd sent each other over the internet were a bit exaggerated. That night, Penelope explained that the disguise was invented to get her past the Dogfighting League's strict age requirements.
Little detail it took me a while to realize, this dining room is within the Baron's castle.
However, after winning, the Baron became a celebrity, and she found herself putting on the costume more and more often. But now, with the Black Baron out of the picture, she was free to take up a new path, and she joined the gang without hesitation.
Penelope's design went through a heck of a process on the conceptual level. At one point, she was intended to have a much stockier silhouette to better fit the Baron's suit. Kinda reminds me of Redwall, actually. But for unknown reasons, she developed to be quite a bit lankier. Perhaps a hint at a bit of potential compatibility with Sly, though interestingly, her final design lacks a tail, and she will never, ever have one. This does create a significant dissonance with her reveal. Her proportions unnaturally grafted onto the Baron's suit, but perhaps this is more of an Iron Man suit than a simple costume. It would explain how she was knocking Sly around like a piñata, and this does ensure that the twist comes as more of a surprise. Though there are a few subtle hints. Never seeing the two of them in a room together is one thing, but the way she reacts to Mugshot's cronies betraying the Baron is probably the most overt. Oh, and for that weasel line, it's a cheeky developer in-joke, since Penelope's original concept drew her as a weasel.
The next day, our newest recruit treated us to a week-long aerial tour of Holland.
The next day, our newest recruit treated us to a week-long aerial tour of Holland. The next day, she treated us to a week-long aerial tour of Holland? Something time machine joke for the benefit of anyone who's beaten this game. Penelope's characterization is so freaking strong. You get a pretty good idea of her entire dogfighting career just from the few details we do know. Undoubtedly a prodigy at flying, the type who could pilot a plane before she could drive a car. We don't know what the actual age requirements she circumvented were, but it's a safe bet she was probably a teenager when she won her first tournament. However, as the Black Baron's legend grew, as she set up her own tournament to play King of the Hill, the pressure to win each and every year grew too. And she starts playing a bit less fair, leveraging her ever-mounting resources to stack her deck with aces. She becomes obsessed with forcing the other pilots to play by the rules, all while she keeps gunships and airliners in her back pocket to keep everyone else from snatching her victory. And the undercurrent of the Baron's undefeated reputation becomes something she's chained to. I don't think it's a reach to assume she wanted to lose this year's aces. She confesses to Sly the relief she feels when it's all said and done, and look how proudly she proclaims them as the winners. But this PA announcement we caught in her hangar is the most damning.
I'm going to dismiss the lot of you and start clean with the new staff.
I think this was her covering her bases, establishing a reason for her to burn down her empire when the Cooper gang won. She still fought her hardest, but she knew going in that we were something special, and would provide her with exactly the out she secretly needed. Thus concludes Flight of Fancy. I'm gonna contradict myself here, but after writing all this out, dare I say, better than Jailbreak. It doesn't have the advantage of the narrative gut punch, leaving you as the player alone with the weakest party member, and the catharsis of overcoming that, but every other aspect is firing on all cylinders. The level design, the mission structure, the character beats, I'm confident labeling this as my favorite episode in the series. Where most chapters tend to have that one-week mission that overstays its welcome, Flight of Fancy is back-to-back highlights, and I am still not over the reveal of the main antagonist being the very character we were aiming to recruit. Our success on that front feels especially triumphant. A character proven to be as cunning as Bentley, as tough as Murray, and as confident as Sly, the first member of the Cooper gang whose asking price for joining up was earning her respect, and, well, we aced it. Looks like we were the aviator crowned the Emperor of the Skies. How about that? Welcome aboard, Penelope. Next time, you're in for a serious ride. A Cold Alliance is up next, and despite its name, trust me when I say it brings the heat. And if you want to see it right away instead of waiting, check out the link in the description below and head on over to my Patreon, where all my loyal patrons can enjoy it in early access, and suffer the indignity of being hounded by my exuberant and overpronounced gratitude. Like a Mary the Grey, who could defeat any of my other patrons in single combat as long as she's given enough prep time. Raven, who I have now actually met in real life and is just a genuinely very cool guy and a pleasure to be around. Rockington is functionally incapable of flipping tails on a coin. We can only hope these powers aren't used for evil. Grim Degree, who is the one thing on this planet actually recommended by 5 out of 5 dentists. And Meryl Hainsworth, who can stop any criminal in their tracks with nothing but a single impeccably raised eyebrow. More obsessive thanks to Janku, Chris Braydell, The Humble Oscar, Sato de Sable, 10-Beat, Raisin Bran, Kane Lowwind, Rucksack 358-2, Tabriz Sadiq, Red Panda King, oh, that's a cool coincidence, Remus, Busy Town, and all the rest of you high-flying patrons. You guys are my idea of the best, and I will see you in the next one.